Hello and welcome back. Today I'm going to be talking about the best films that I watched in 2024. This is the second year that I'm doing this, and I'm excited to make this a sort of tradition. Same bathtub, different movies. So the first film on the list is Nowhere by Greg Araki. Nowhere, 1997, directed by Greg Araki, is a surreal, day-in-the-life exploration of dissatisfied Los Angeles teens navigating love, sex, and existential ennui. Following the bisexual protagonist Dark as he obsesses over his unrequited love for Mel amidst chaotic encounters with a group of colorful characters, the film blends absurd humor, sci-fi elements, and Araki's signature nihilistic flair to depict a hedonistic, apocalyptic Gen X youth culture. This was actually the first film that I watched in 2024, and this was probably the best way I could have started off the year film-wise. This film is the third and final installment of the Teen Apocalypse trilogy by Greg Araki, and as I mentioned in last year's video, I love Greg Araki. Last year is when I started the Teen Apocalypse trilogy, and this year is when I finished it. So that was a nice little film intro to the new year. Greg Araki is the king of set design and dialogue, and this film was definitely no exception. The set design in this film is some of the most enticing I've ever seen, as is the case with most Greg Araki films that I have seen. Araki's use of set design is truly like nobody else's, and as mentioned, the dialogue in this film is incredible. I wish people spoke like this in real life. The just one-liners and intricacy of the dialogue, whilst being comedic and meaningful, is just truly admirable, honestly. This film, like many of Araki's other films, has such a unique tone, where Araki manages to tackle such serious subject matter while maintaining a sense of whimsy and fun, without trivializing the subject matter at hand, which is so hard to do, but he just manages to do it so well every time. I've truly not been the same person since I started watching Greg Araki films, because now I only want to watch Greg Araki films, and I find myself searching for films that have a similar energy, which you're definitely going to see reflected in this list. I honestly wish that I could experience watching the Teen Apocalypse trilogy for the first time again. So if you haven't watched the Teen Apocalypse trilogy yet, I'm jealous of you, and you should watch them. The second film on my list is Jawbreaker from 1999. Jawbreaker 1999 is a darkly comedic high school satire that follows a group of popular girls whose perfect image shatters after an accidental murder. When a prank to kidnap their friend on her birthday goes horribly wrong, the clique scrambles to cover up the tragedy, leading to a web of lies, manipulation, and ruthless power plays. The film is a candy-colored blend of camp and cruelty, examining the dark side of teen popularity. After finishing the Teen Apocalypse trilogy, as mentioned, I was definitely craving more fun 90s films, and this film is definitely reflective of and satisfied that craving. I am honestly surprised that it took me so long to watch this film. It's one of those films that's been on my radar for a really long time, but I just hadn't gotten around to watching it until this year. I really love comedy films featuring like pretty feminine mean girls. I just think they're always such interesting characters, and they're always interesting characters when it's done well, and they have a sort of nuance to them, and this film is definitely does that really well, which I really love. Rose McGowan is such a comedic force in this film, as are the other actresses, who all give incredible comedic performances. The costuming was perfect, the soundtrack was perfect. I lost track of how many slow motion walk down the hallways there were, which is everything I want in a teen comedy film. Next film is Sugar and Spice from 2001. Sugar and Spice 2001 is a dark comedy about a group of high school cheerleaders who turn to crime to support their team captain's unplanned pregnancy. Faced with financial desperation, the girls devise a risky plan to rob a bank. all whilst navigating the pressures of friendship and their double lives as model students. The film mixes humor, absurdity, and subversive commentary on high school stereotypes and loyalty. I do promise that there is more than candy-colored comedy on this list, but the third film was, as mentioned, Sugar and Spice from 2001. The film is campy, it's funny, it's girly, all qualities I love in a film, and I appreciated the decentering of male characters in this film. Even in films labeled as like women-centered comedies, there tends to be a focus on dynamics between them and male characters still, but this film definitely placed the female characters and their dynamic first, and the male characters were kind of accessories, which was kind of a refreshing interpretation of the teen comedy. This film is written, directed, and produced by women, which definitely shines through very evidently in the film. All of the characters are definitely very unique and captivating in their own way, and all of the actresses in this film definitely really shine through in their roles. I feel like this is such an underrated early 2000s comedy film. I don't really see people talking about this film that much, and I really think it's very special and unique and deserves more attention than what it gets. So I hope that for those who love girly teen comedies who haven't seen this film, give it a try. It's kind of the equivalent, I feel like, of my Drop Dead Gorgeous watch last year. Number 4 is Pink Flamingos from 1972. Pink Flamingo 1972, directed by John Waters, is an infamous underground cult classic that pushes the boundaries of bad taste. It follows Divine, a drag queen determined to defend her title as the filthiest person alive, as she battles a depraved rival couple vying for the same claim. Outrageous, grotesque, and subversively comedic, the film is a celebration of counterculture and an unapologetic affront to mainstream sensibilities. This is another film that has been on my radar for a really long time, but I just never sat down to watch it until this year. This film is such a staple of queer cinema and is definitely ahead of its time. When I was watching it, I had to keep reminding myself that I was watching a film from the early 70s and not from the 90s. Divine and John Waters are such a, for lack of better words, iconic duo. They are truly a match made in heaven, and how grateful are we to exist in a time where we get to bear witness to this muse-auteur duo, or even auteur-auteur duo. Divine is so incredibly charming, captivating, and hilarious on screen. She has so many brilliant, quotable lines in this.
Could you give us some of your political beliefs?
Kill everyone now. Condone first-degree murder. Advocate cannibalism. Eat shit. Filth are my politics. Filth is my life.
I am so excited to be partnering again with Bombas as the sponsor of today's video. Bombas is a purpose-driven brand. Bombas launched in 2013 after the founders learned that socks are the #1 most requested clothing item at homeless shelters. From there, they set out to solve that problem by making the thing that you wear every day feel good and do good. One purchase equals one donated. Bombas has donated over 150 million items. Focusing on the top 3 most requested clothing items at homeless shelters: socks, underwear, and t-shirts. Every Bombas item is thoughtfully designed for comfort. That means socks without annoying seams, and tees without itchy tags, and underwear with minimized seams for all-day comfort. Bombas has a wide array of styles for every occasion. I chose these thick, comfy socks to lounge around in and keep me comfortable and warm during the winter months. I also love these sparkly pink socks, which are perfect for adding an extra element to a party outfit. I'm so excited to share that Bombas is offering a special deal for viewers of Final Girl Studios. New customers will get 20% off their first purchase by just going to bombas.com/finalgirl and using code FINALGIRL at checkout. Thank you to Bombas for sponsoring this video, and now back to the video. Number 5 is The Substance. The Substance 2024 is a body horror film that delves into the perils of pursuing eternal youth. The story follows Elizabeth Sparkle, a fading celebrity who, after being dismissed by her former producer due to her age, resorts to a black market drug that creates a younger version of herself. This decision leads to unforeseen and grotesque consequences, serving as a satirical critique on society's obsession with beauty and the objectification of women. Although I did an over 1 hour long video on this film, I actually omitted a lot of my own opinions and experience watching this film as I analyzed it. I did adore this film, and it definitely does deserve its spot on this list. However, a part of me did feel like it was sort of a less good version of Helter Skelter 2012, which I often cite as one of my favorite films. But that being said, still loved it, but if you did love the substance, I do think that you should watch Helter Skelter next. Demi Moore and Margaret Qualley gave such a stellar performance, and I'm so glad that them and Coralie Fargeau are getting their flowers because it is so deserved, and it's so nice to see that one of the most talked about films of the year is this feminist body horror, more experimental film that's not even being distributed by a major studio. I, at first, didn't love the entire third act of the film when I first watched it. I thought it felt tonally weird, and the descent into absurdity felt a little too much, and I felt it strayed away from the original messaging of the film, or the intended messaging of the film. Though honestly, after analyzing the film through Baudrillard's 4 stages of simulacra, it actually made me appreciate the ending a lot more. Yeah, and its absurdity, it felt like it made sense when analyzed through that perspective. And as said, I am overall so happy to see the hype that The Substance is getting this year, because I think it's so deserved, and I'm so happy for everybody involved in the production of that film. Number 6 on the list is House of Tolerance from 2011. House of Tolerance 2011 is a poetic and melancholic portrait of life in a high-class Parisian brothel at the turn of the 20th century. The film explores the bonds, dreams, and struggles of the women who live and work there as they navigate the confines of their gilded cage. Through lush cinematography and anachronistic touches, it offers a haunting meditation on desire, exploitation, and the passing of time. This is my favorite film I watched this year, hands down. This was an exploration on the violence inflicted on women's bodies, told through the vessel of a brothel, and it was so incredibly potent and well done. This film is a brilliant exploration on female flesh as capital, and the nuance of existing as a woman and being a living, breathing commodity. This is one of the best and most nuanced portrayals of sex work that I've seen on screen, and on top of the incredible writing, the costuming, the set design, and the cinematography are absolutely breathtaking. Every frame in this film looks like a painting. This film is beautiful, it's unique, it's heart-wrenching, and captivating, and I think it is a film most of my subscribers on my channel would really appreciate the beauty of. It's truly a masterpiece and has earned its place as one of my all-time favorite films, and I think it's a film I'll be watching for a really long time, and this is a film I look forward to devouring again and again. Number 7 is Kamicazi Girls from 2004. Kamicazi Girls 2004 is a quirky coming-of-age comedy about the unlikely friendship between 2 vastly different teenage girls in rural Japan. Mamako, a Lolita fashion enthusiast obsessed with Rococo aesthetics, crosses paths with Ichiko, a tough biker gang member with a rebellious streak. Their clashing personalities and adventures together form a heartfelt and eccentric tale about self-expression, loyalty, and finding connection in unexpected places. This is another incredibly fun film. This film is a candy-colored girly dream. It is very queer-coded and absurd. It is fun and doesn't take itself too seriously. The characters are funny and the costuming is so incredible. If you love fashion, you will love this film, especially Lolita fashion. And this is just another unique, fun, and underrated film that, once again, I think a lot of my subscribers will really like and get a lot from. Number 8 is Anora from 2024. Anora 2024, directed by Sean Baker, is a comedy drama that follows Annie, a young sex worker from Brooklyn, whose life takes an unexpected turn when she impulsively marries Vanya, the son of a Russian oligarch. Their whirlwind romance faces challenges as Vanya's family intervenes, leading to a blend of humor and drama that explores themes of love, class, and cultural clashes. This is one of two films from this year on the list. As I said in my Letterboxd review, this was such a fascinating theater experience. I've never experienced a theater and an audience that was so loud during the screening of the film and then by contrast so deafeningly silent as the credits rolled, which I think is a testament to the writing. Mikey Madison also was so brilliant in this film. Her range in delivering both comedic moments as well as heartbreaking vulnerability was so breathtaking. What made Anora so great was that I know so many women like Annie, women who mask their vulnerability through sarcasm and humor and aggression and sex appeal. But ultimately, as Anora displays, the charade can only go on for so long. Until one inevitably breaks, and I think this film really captures that very well. Number 9 is Hyperormalization from 2016. Hyperormalization 2016, directed by Adam Curtis, is a sprawling documentary that examines how complex realities of the modern world have been replaced by simplified, manipulated narratives. Tracing political, technological, and societal changes from the 1970s to the present, the film explores how leaders, corporations, and media have created a distorted version of reality to maintain control. Through its dense archival footage and storytelling, it reveals a world where truth is blurred and perception governs power. This and the next one are going to be slight switch-ups. In the final months of the year, I really have reignited my love of documentaries. So these last two are documentaries, which, like I said, is a little bit different for my channel. I don't usually talk about documentaries. But watching this documentary this year was surprisingly my introduction to Adam Curtis, which I feel like a lot of video essays probably watch. He seems to be such a staple in media analysis, and I'm surprised I haven't stumbled upon his work previous to this, but I'm glad I know him now, and I'm glad to maybe introduce him to some of you guys. But this documentary was released on the weeks before the initial election of Donald Trump in 2016. And I watched this just days before the second election of Donald Trump, just this past month. So watching this documentary in 2024 is in many ways a very emotional experience because many of the topics explored have only become increasingly relevant as the time has passed, which is a little startling, but makes it even more important to engage with media like this. But this is a fantastic introduction to the world of Adam Curtis, and I have since watched many Adam Curtis documentaries. I went on a little bit of a binge, but this one feels especially relevant in our current cultural climate, as mentioned, and is a great starting point, I think, for anyone else looking to dive into the world of Adam Curtis. Number 10 is We Live in Public from 2009. We Live in Public 2009 is a provocative documentary that examines the intersections of technology, privacy, and surveillance in the digital age. It focuses on the life and experiments of internet pioneer Josh Harris, whose social experiments like the controversial Quiet Project foreshadowed the impacts of social media and constant connectivity. The film serves as both a cautionary tale and a fascinating exploration of the human desire for connection and its unintended consequences. I have already watched this documentary twice in the past 2 months. This documentary likewise feels like it has only become increasingly relevant as time has gone on. It explores the life and career of internet pioneer Josh Harris, who was in many ways very ahead of his time, which is just so fascinating to watch. Harris, in many ways, predicted the prominence of streaming and online video platforms such as Twitch and YouTube. So as an online figure, it felt even more relevant for me to watch. One of the most incredible quotes by Harris in this documentary is when he references and outright quotes, very famous now, Andy Warhol quote, where Andy Warhol says, "In the future, everyone will be famous for 15 minutes. But Harris expands on this quote, and he says that everyone will be famous for 15 minutes every day. And with the growing prevalence of social media apps such as TikTok, which has only increased the demand, desirability, and accessibility of viral internet stardom, Harris has proven to be right in his prophecy. This documentary is such a fascinating, prophetic analysis of internet culture, and it is so interesting to look back on and see how much of what Josh Harris and his peers prophesized has come true. Yeah, I don't know. And the trajectory of Josh Harris's life just feels as though it likewise mimics the trajectory of what is happening to many people who are chronically online. Okay, and that concludes the best films that I watched in 2024. If you are interested in knowing about the books that I read this year, that essay is now available on my Substack, so the link will be in my description if you are interested in knowing about the books that I read this year. Again, thank you for joining me. I am happy that this is a tradition now for me to sit in my bathtub and drink wine and talk about movies from this year. And I'll see you probably in the same bathtub in a year from now. Maybe sooner. Who knows? Oh wait, also, if anyone has any recommendations for me based on this list of films, let me know, because I'm always looking for new films to be engaging with. So yeah, also let me know the best films that you watched this year, because I'm curious about that too. So yeah, thank you, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!